Okay, I think we'll go ahead and get started. Other folks can filter in when they can. But again, welcome to the Energy Benchmarking Training 101 session, your guide to submitting your building's 2024 energy and water data. For today, we are going to be on GoToWebinar. Congrats, you guys already figured out how to get on here, which is sometimes the biggest barrier for folks, so good job. You all will be in listen-only mode for the duration of this webinar. And there is a questions/chat box that you'll see on your panel. You can utilize that to ask any questions, or if you have any comments, concerns, we will be actively monitoring it during this session. The agenda for today, I'm going to do a quick intro of our organization, Metropolitan Energy Center, then an overview of the Kansas City, Missouri Energy Empowerment Ordinance, giving a breakdown of Energy Star Portfolio Manager, where we will actually go into the site so you can take a look around and get familiar with it, and then we'll review the steps to benchmarking. We'll then have a Q&A session from your questions in the chat, and then closing remarks, future events, and follow-up materials. And today, I am your presenter, Brittany Drew, the Senior Program Coordinator here at MEC for the Building Performance Department. So a little bit of background on Metropolitan Energy Center. We are a 40-year-old nonprofit organization, and we focus on providing resources, outreach, and training so alternative fuels are no longer alternative and energy efficiency becomes commonplace. We do have two departments. My department, which is the Building Performance Department, where we offer commercial and residential energy solutions, and we just operate as a hub of information for folks wanting to learn more about maybe rebates for their furnaces or air conditioning units, HVAC systems, giving information on weatherization if people need information on how to get financial assistance if they can't pay their energy bills. So we just operate as a hub for all things energy in the Kansas City region. And then we do have a sustainable transportation department, which hosts the Kansas City Regional Clean Cities Coalition and the Central Kansas Clean Cities Coalition. So they help local governments and companies transition their fleets from diesel to either alternative fuels like propane, ethanol-based fuels, or even electric vehicles. So we've helped a lot of different cities do that and companies. So our staff on our buildings department side that you might be working with or familiar with, Mary English is our manager. She has 15 years of industry experience in the energy world. There's me, senior program coordinator. I have experience in the corporate world, local government, and now the nonprofit sector. And then you may have heard from Danielle Wells or Ashley McDonald. They comprise our benchmarking customer support team. Danielle is the supervisor, and she has led this program for the past almost 4 years. And so she kind of does the more nitty-gritty hand-holding in terms of if folks have follow-up questions from this training, she is the person that you would go to get help as you go through this process. She's super sweet. So please do not hesitate to reach out to her if you do have questions. And then Ashley, she is kind of like our outgoing service rep. She does outgoing calls and outreach to folks to notify them about this program and the help that we share for building managers across the Kansas City region. So that's our team. Here we are, and here's our contact information. And the hub is open 8:30 to 4:30 every day. All right, so a little bit about the City of Kansas City, Missouri's Energy Benchmarking Ordinance. So originally it was adopted in 2016, named the Energy Empowerment Ordinance, and basically it requires owners of buildings 50,000 square feet or more to submit their energy and water consumption annually. And so our job is just really to help you guys through that process and help you submit it as easily as possible. So that's a little bit on why we're even here and why you all have been tasked to submit your company's energy and water consumption. To do that, you will be using the Energy Star Portfolio Manager platform. And if you don't know what that is, it's fine because a lot of people have not used it before. But essentially, it's an EPA tool that is online, and organizations can use it to measure and track energy and water consumption. You can also use it to track your greenhouse gas emissions for your company. And so you can use it to benchmark the performance of one building or a whole portfolio of buildings, because there are some companies that sign up for this training that, you know, have tons of buildings across Kansas City, or they have, you know, a campus of buildings. So this platform can do it all. And we do get the question of, why do we even need to benchmark? Why is this helpful? What is the point? Well, it's really so that you can understand how much energy you're consuming. I mean, outside of, you know, just your base leasing, you know, or mortgage costs, energy costs are some of the more costly operating expenses. So benchmarking is the first step to understanding how much energy you are using. And so once you do get that baseline, you will be able to see if you can save money on your utility bills by making some changes to your buildings. And so that's kind of where we come in, or other, you know, companies, Evergy, Spire, can come in and help you make some of those weatherization changes, or offer you rebates to help revamp your buildings and make them more efficient and save you money on utilities over time. And then also, it can help you meet your own climate goals or ESG goals, just because a lot of companies think that's important these days. A lot of consumers think that that's important these days, to be environmentally friendly. So just a couple reasons why benchmarking can be helpful. All right, so before we get started, we do recommend that you get some of this information before you begin your own process of benchmarking your buildings, because they will ask you this when you're you know, setting up your buildings. Or if you've already benchmarked before, you probably won't need this, but if you are new here, then you will need this information. So you will need your property information, such as the primary function, the name, address, postal code, the year it was built, and the gross floor area. You'll also need the property use. Sorry, there's something blocking my way. Property use details, such as the operating hours, number of computers, and number of workers on a typical shift. And then probably the most important part is getting your 12 months, collecting your 12 months of consumption data. So that just means gathering 12 months of your energy, electricity, natural gas, and water bills. So those are the things you'll need to get started. And then another thing they will ask you for in this process is your standard ID number. This is also known as the Kansas City Building Reporting ID. It's a 10-digit number, and the only thing you have to do to find this is to click on this link, and you guys will get this presentation after I'm done, so don't worry about that. Just click on the link, or you can search Building Lookup Tool on the City of Kansas City, Missouri's benchmarking website, and you type in your building's address, and then it should provide you that standard ID number. And just a note, for returning benchmarking clients or companies online that have done this process before, you do not need to add new meters. You do not need to create a new building. If you've done this before, your buildings are already in your account. So you would just need to get the account information from whoever did this job before you. And you do not need to add new meters every year. Just add your additional 12 months of utility bills to the already established meters. So that's just a tip for you guys, because sometimes folks would keep creating new meters, and it would kind of just like mess up the process and just make things confusing. So as long as you have your meters set up, you're good to go. I should have turned off my Teams notifications. I don't know if you guys saw that, but anyways, we are gonna get into the steps to benchmarking. This is the bulk of the presentation. So we're gonna get started with creating an Energy Star Portfolio Manager account, navigating the site, adding a property, adding meters, adding your bills, and then checking for errors using the data quality checker. Okay, and just a reminder again, if you all have existing accounts, you will not need to create an Energy Star portfolio account. Okay, but for those of you who do, basically you just go to the Energy Star portfolio manager. One second, I'm going to I'm going to put my self on do not disturb so I don't get those pop-ups. Hopefully that works. So creating an Energy Star portfolio account, you are going to go to the Energy Star Portfolio Manager website, which I'll show you in a second, and you will create the create an account button or click it, and then you'll have this kind of view on your screen where they'll ask you to provide a username and a password. Please remember that you can't change your password, so just make sure that's something you can remember and that's appropriate for your organization. And then create a password, and they'll ask you some information about yourself, first name, last name, job title, and your email. Now, if you are creating a corporate account, you can enter your organization's name in the first and last name fields. So, for example, you can put your company's name, first name, and then maybe your division in the last name. So, just a tip for you guys. Then they're going to ask for your phone number, your country. That cannot be changed as well, so make sure that you click United States of America. Whatever language you want to fill this out in, and then the reporting units. We recommend using the conventional EPA units just because we don't use the metric system here in the US. They're going to ask you for the street address for your building, city, state, and postal code. And they will also ask for your organization name and the primary business or service of your organization. The last question is asking if your organization is an Energy Star partner. Most people are not, but you can hover over any blue hyperlinks that you see in the website and it will give you more information. And then they're going to ask you, do you want your account name and username to be searchable by other portfolio manager users? We recommend yes, just so in case you need our assistance, we'll be able to find you. And then confirm your identity, make sure you're not a robot and that you are indeed a human. And you've created your account. Now we're actually going to go into Portfolio Manager. So you can just kind of see what it looks like. I already have an account, so my information's already in here. So this is basically what it looks like. This is the My Portfolio landing page where you will see your dashboard of properties, so any buildings that you have. And then on the left-hand side of the My Portfolio dashboard, you'll have the option to add a property. If you recently got ownership of another property, you could add a property to your queue. And then also have a graph here where once you do enter your data, you'll be able to see your energy use over the years, which is pretty cool. And then there's a manage portfolio section where you have tools about transferring ownership of a property to another user, being able to download your portfolio to Excel, adding sample properties, deleting properties. So just the landing page. The sharing page is where you can share property access or edit access of a property to other folks, or share with a utility. And so you can see that I have sharing properties with some of my colleagues here. And then the reporting tab, you'll actually be coming back to this to submit your report once you're once you're done adding your usage in here, this is the tab you will come back to report to the city. So, and recognition, this tab, a lot of people don't necessarily use it, but if you were going for Energy Star certification for your properties, this is where you would find some information about that. Okay, then you have your account settings, just information about yourself. Notifications, basically any incoming or outgoing requests. I don't have any at the time. Energy Star notifications. This is where Energy Star Portfolio Manager will share updates with all of its users. They don't really do it that often. As you can see, the last time they did this was 4 years ago, telling folks the platform would be unavailable for 3 days. So not something that they utilize a lot, but it's here. Just wanted to show you. And then your contacts. These are people or organizations that you connect with on here. So yeah, and then there's a help tab where they have FAQs, glossaries for terms used throughout this platform. They have other training videos that you can watch, technical references. So just a cool thing to kind of look around in. And I'm going to go back to the home page for you guys to see. So that was basically navigating the Energy Star portfolio platform a little bit, just so you can see what it looks like. Next, we're going to add a property. Once you're into the platform, you are going to have the opportunity to add a property, which I showed you. So you'll click on that button and you'll select your property type. And there are over 80 property types you can select, and that blue hyperlink you see there will give you more information about each of the property types, so you can decide which one best fits you, whether you're an office or a restaurant or a hospital. There's a lot of different people that have to do this, so you'll just look through that and choose the property type that best suits you. Again, if you have already done this process before, then you likely will already have properties and buildings made. So again, this first half of the presentation is for those who have not done this before, and the latter half is for those who have. Your properties, buildings, how many physical buildings do you consider part of your property? None. That would be the appropriate option if your property is part of a building and you are renting out a space as a tenant. 1, your property is a standalone single building, or more than 1, your property includes multiple buildings. And then your property's construction status. Most people choose existing, but there also is the design project for those who are using this tool to evaluate the energy efficiency of a design project. Or a test property, it's not a real property, and you're using this for training purposes like I am. So setting up your property, this is for the actual buildings that you will be benchmarking, and you'll select a name for that building, the country, you'll put the street address of that building, the city, state, postal code, and the year it was built, along with the gross floor area. Again, this is something that we recommended you get before you start the process, so that you're not like scrambling to find that information after you've begun, because it can become frustrating trying to hunt that down. They'll also ask you for the occupancy level of the building, so you can hover over that to understand a little bit more about what they're asking you there. So the standard ID, like I mentioned before, they're going to be asking you about that. So you would just go back to that website I showed you to get your 10-digit ID. You would click on the drop down, find the Kansas City Building Reporting ID, and then put that 10-digit number in there. And then they're going to ask, do any of these apply? That's basically asking if your property's energy consumption includes parking areas like parking garages or data centers. Do you have a restaurant or cafeteria attached to your property or in your property that uses energy? So you would choose those options that apply. Okay, so once you've done that, they'll kind of give you a summary of your basic information for your property. And then this is just a screenshot of what it looks like if you say you did have a data center. These are the kind of questions you would use. It probably would be best to ask your facilities manager if you have one. They might know this, or your IT folks for the data center use. And then this is the parking use, the questions they'll ask. Yeah, so then you have created your property, which is great. Now we're going to add meters to those properties. So for this process, all you're required to do is add your electricity, natural gas, and water. So when you add a property, you will have 7 tabs: a summary tab, a details tab, an energy tab, a water, a waste and materials, a goals tab, and a design tab. So for our purposes, we're only going to worry about the energy and water. So you'll click on energy and add a meter. They will then ask you for the sources of your property's energy. They're going to ask you, what kind of energy do you want to track? And most buildings around here in this area run on electricity and natural gas. There are a select few that are all electric, but for the most part, a lot of them have both. So you would select electric, and it's purchased from the grid. If you do have any, solar panels, wind turbines, any other, renewable means of energy, you would select those boxes as well. And then the number of meters that you have, you will see on your energy bill. And then you'll do the same for natural gas. You'll put how many meters you have, and that's notated on your energy bill as well. And if you are a commercial property, you might have some district hot water or chilled water. So it just all depends on what kind of property you are. So you would select all that apply, and then you'll have your meters. They'll look like this: natural gas, electric grid meter, district chilled water, whatever it is that you have. And you are going to make sure to click the in use section, and that's basically what you got to do there. Just make sure that the meters are in use, and then select the units that you want to utilize. All right, so then you are going to start adding your entries, and your entries are essentially your bills. And so this is where we said to make sure that you've just accumulated all of the information beforehand. So gathering your electricity bills, your natural gas bills, and your water bills before you start this process. So once you click to add an entry, is going to, I think I got ahead of myself actually. So once you click to add an entry, you will have a start date, an end date, and a usage. And those are all things you can find on your energy bill for the month, or however frequently you get billed. And you'll do that for 12 months. So 12 months of energy bills. And then if you need help accessing your utility data, what you can do is call Evergy. They can help you get that information, especially if you are a apartment building and you have multiple tenants and you need to kind of add all of that energy usage up. They can help you with that. So you can call their business center or email their BEAT program, beat@evergy.com. If you need help with your natural gas, Spire can also help you with that. And they can also give you a whole building aggregate data set for your tenants as well. And then KC Water Services will help with water. If you have steam and chilled water, Vicinity Energy can help you as well. So again, you would just be adding your entries for natural gas and electricity, what it would look like. Obviously, these usage numbers are not going to be the same as this. This is an example, but you have a start date, an end date for your bill, and the usage. You can add total cost if your business wants to track your energy costs. Maybe some of you already have a different platform to track your operating expenses, so that's fine. You don't have to do that. All you're required to do is the start date, end date, and the usage. So you'll do that for electricity, natural gas, and water. And then lastly, you're going to want to check for errors. And so on the summary tab, you will scroll down to the data quality checker, and you will hit the button that says check for possible errors, and it will show you any and all errors that you might have. And one common error that we typically see is when folks put the actual date that their building was built in the I'm sorry. One common error that we see is sometimes if you put the actual date of the date that your building was built in Energy Star Portfolio Manager when you're starting to do your bills, there will be a gap because they're thinking that you're saying that you have electricity bills from the day your building was started, your building was built until now. So that's a common error that we do see. So just making sure that when you do add your meters that you put the date that the meter was started, the first date of the first month of the year that you're benchmarking, because Portfolio Manager is going to think there's a long gap between your bills, and they're going to be like, oh, we only have bills from 2024, but where are the rest of the bills from 1972 till now? So when you do add your meters and they're asking you what date the meter was in use, we recommend that you put the first date of the first month of the year you're benchmarking. Again, if you've already done this process, you would just continue to add your utility bills. So submitting your data to the city, once you add your energy bills to Portfolio Manager, some people think that you're done, but you're actually not. You have to submit the data to the city, and the deadline is May 1st. So you'll just go to the city's energy and water benchmarking website, and there is a link to submit your data. And when you click that link, it will take you back to Energy Star Portfolio Manager to the reporting tab, and then you'll be able to submit your bills and your energy usage. So that was a quick run through of the process. I think that you know, if you've never done it before, it can be a little bit intimidating, but we have our customer service reps here to help you out with that if you do need some extra help. And so I'm gonna look at the chat here to see if there's any questions while I do that. I will be sending out this PowerPoint to you all so you can take a look at some of the slides. And we also have a resources tab here for you as well with the Kansas City benchmarking website, the building lookup tool link, and a couple other things that we thought were helpful. Our upcoming trainings, we do have another one on April 9th. Today was the 12th, so that's not upcoming anymore, but we do have another one coming up in April. And as always, our desk is open 8:30 to 4:30 in case you require any additional help. Danielle and Ashley are awesome, and they would be so happy to help you out with any questions you have. So our email addresses are in there, phone numbers are in there. I don't necessarily see any questions right now, so that's okay. If you think of stuff while you're doing the process, reach out and we would be happy to assist. So If there are no other questions, I want to thank you so much for your time, spending half an hour with me over your lunch. I really do appreciate it. And I want you to have a wonderful day and enjoy that weather. So thanks for joining. See you guys later.